Listen to me. Some of you are stuck not because you don't have talent, not because you don't have potential, but because you're scared to open your mouth and ask. You're sitting on blessings that belong to you, but fear is keeping you quiet. You think if you ask, somebody will laugh at you. You think if you ask, they'll reject you. But let me tell you this, you already don't have it. So what's the risk in asking? You gotta stop being afraid of a no, because every a no you get is one step closer to a yes. Closed mouths don't get fed. The reason somebody else is living your dream is not because they're better than you. It's because they had the courage to ask for the opportunity. Do you realize how many doors are waiting to be opened for you, but you won't even knock? You're praying for a breakthrough, but God is saying, I already gave you the key. It's called ask. When I was homeless, when I was eating out of trash cans, when I had nothing, I asked. I asked for help. I asked for guidance. I asked for mentorship. And because I asked, my life changed. You got to kill that pride. Some of you are too prideful to ask. And pride is the reason you're broke. Pride is the reason you're stuck. Pride is the reason you can't grow. Asking is not weakness, it's wisdom. If you want to be great, you have to ask questions. You've got to ask for help. Ask for opportunities, ask for guidance, ask for what you're worth. Stop assuming people know what you need. Speak up, because the worst thing that can happen is you hear no. But the best thing, that yes that might change your entire life. So today, make a decision. Stop being afraid to ask. The next level of your life is one question away, one email away, one conversation away. Don't die with the question still in your mouth. Open it, ask. Claim what's yours. I don't know who needs this message right now, but I need you to catch it deep in your spirit. Closed mouths don't get fed. You're sitting there hungry. You're sitting there broke. You're sitting there waiting on an opportunity, and you're quiet. You're not asking, you're not knocking, you're not speaking up. And then you wonder why life is passing you by. You wonder why people around you are leveling up, why doors are opening for them, why they're making progress while you're stuck in the same place. It's not because they're smarter than you. It's not because they're more talented than you. It's not because they're better than you. It's because they opened their mouth. It's because they weren't afraid to ask. I need you to understand this. Nothing in life comes to those who sit back and wait silent. Nothing. You can pray all you want. You can dream all you want. You can hope all you want. But if you don't put sound behind your faith, if you don't speak up, if you don't ask, you're starving yourself. Closed mouths don't get fed. Think about it like a baby. A baby can't talk, can't walk, can't do anything for itself. But when that baby is hungry, it cries. It makes noise. It lets the world know, I need something. And what happens? The mother feeds it. But imagine a baby that stays quiet. Imagine a baby that refuses to cry. It doesn't matter how much the mother loves it. If she doesn't know the baby stays hungry, that's some of you right now. You're starving not because people don't care, but because you're silent. You're too scared to ask for help. You're too scared to say, I don't know. You're too scared to admit, I need guidance. You're too scared to say, I need an opportunity. And so you sit there in silence, and silence is killing your dreams. You think people are going to come and rescue you. You think your boss is just going to walk up and say, hey, you want a raise? You think a mentor is just going to magically appear. You think somebody is just going to hand you an opportunity. No, closed mouths don't get fed. You've got to open your mouth. You've got to ask. And listen, I already know what you're thinking. You're scared of rejection. You're scared they're going to say no. You're scared they're going to laugh at you. You're scared they're going to think less of you. But let me help you out. The worst they can say is no. And guess what? If you don't ask, you already don't have it. You hear what I'm saying? You're living in the no already. So what's the risk? You're not losing anything by asking. You can only gain. You can only grow. But fear has got you trapped. Fear has got you walking around with your mouth shut, starving yourself of blessings. When I was homeless, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, when I was eating out of trash cans, I had nothing. And the only reason I made it out was because I asked. I asked people for guidance. I asked people for opportunities. I asked for help. Was it uncomfortable? Yes. Was it humbling? Absolutely. But it saved my life. If I would have stayed quiet, I'd still be on those streets. Closed mouths don't get fed. And let me tell you something. Pride is killing some of you. You don't want to ask because you think asking makes you weak. You think asking makes you look less. You think asking means you're not enough. Well, let me flip it on you. Asking is strength. Asking is boldness. Asking is courage. It takes guts to open your mouth and say, I need this. It takes guts to say, can you help me? It takes guts to say, can you give me an opportunity? Pride will leave you empty. Pride will leave you struggling. Pride will leave you broke. But humility will feed you. I need you to stop sitting on your dreams in silence. I need you to stop watching life pass you by because you won't open your mouth. You've got a gift, you've got talent, you've got something the world needs. But if you don't speak up, the world will never know. You've got to stop waiting for people to read your mind. Stop assuming they know what you need. They don't. You've got to open your mouth and ask. Let me give you an example. When I was building my speaking career, I didn't have money. I didn't have resources. I didn't have connections. But what I had was a voice. I went to schools. I went to organizations. I went to anyone who would listen. And I asked, can I speak here? Can I share my story? Can I share my story? And most of the time they said no. But every once in a while somebody said yes. And that one yes led to another yes and another yes until my entire career was built. If I had stayed silent, if I had been too scared to ask, you wouldn't even know the name Eric Thomas today. Some of you are waiting for the perfect moment to ask, but there's no perfect moment. The time is now. Every day you stay silent is another day you stay hungry. Every day you keep your mouth closed is another day you miss your blessing. You got to move now. You got to speak up now. You got to speak up now. You got to ask now. I know rejection hurts. I know it stings. But let me tell you something. Rejection doesn't kill you. Silence does. Rejection doesn't stop your dream. Fear does. You can survive a no. You can't survive a closed mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed. And if you want to be great, if you want to be successful, if you want to live the life you were created for, use a mouth. You've got to open your mouth. You got to ask for opportunity. You got to ask for guidance. You got to ask for help. You got to ask for what you're worth. Don't let fear of embarrassment stop you. Don't let pride stop you. Don't let doubt stop you. Ask, because that one ask could change your entire life. That one question could open the door to your breakthrough. That one conversation could lead you to your destiny. You never know until you open your mouth. So I need you to do me a favor. Stop sitting in silence. Stop starving yourself. Stop waiting for life to hand you something when you won't even ask. Closed mouths don't get fed. If you want it, ask for it. If you need it, ask for it. If you need it, ask for it. If you dream it, ask for it, because the blessing is already waiting for you. The question is, will you open your mouth to claim it? Some of you are walking around with fear on your shoulders like it's your best friend. Your best friend. You're afraid to ask, afraid to step up, afraid to put yourself out there because you think rejection is going to destroy you. But let me break it down for you real simple. You already don't have it. So what's the risk in asking? You're sitting there quiet, playing it safe, holding back, waiting on life to hand you something, and it's not coming. If you don't have it right now, then asking doesn't take anything away from you. It only gives you the chance to gain. But fear has you paralyzed. Fear has you thinking that a no is the end of the world. Fear has you so scared of losing that you don't even realize you've already lost by staying silent. You don't own the opportunity. You don't own the job. You don't own the relationship. You don't own the breakthrough. So why are you protecting nothing? Why are you defending a life you don't even want? You don't have it. That means if you ask, you can only go from here. I need you to catch this. Some of you are living in a false reality, thinking that staying quiet keeps you safe. You think silence protects you from pain, but silence is what's killing you. You're broke, you're stuck, you're unhappy, but at least you're safe. Safe from rejection, safe from hearing no, safe from somebody laughing at you. But that safety is keeping you empty. That safety is the reason your dream is still a dream and not a reality. You already don't have. So what's the risk in asking? When I was homeless, I had nothing. You hear me? Nothing, no money, no food, no place to stay. You think I was worried about rejection? You think I care about somebody saying no? No, because I already didn't have it. I was hungry, so I asked. I was broke, so I asked. I needed guidance, so I asked. And every single time I asked, I was either in the same position I was already in or I moved forward. There was no loss. There was no going backward. Asking didn't cost me anything, but silence would have cost me my future. You've got to shift your mindset. You've got to start seeing asking not as a risk, but as a responsibility. If you want to grow, if you want to get to the next level, if you want to live the life you dream about, you owe it to yourself to ask. You owe it to your family, you owe it to your family, you owe it to your future, you owe it to your purpose. Because you can't keep playing it safe and expect to win. Winners ask. Winners put themselves out there. Winners know that a closed mouth doesn't just stay hungry, it stays stuck. And let me tell you something, the world doesn't reward silence. The world rewards boldness. The world rewards people who raise their hand and say, I want this, I'm ready for this, I deserve this. You're sitting back hoping somebody will notice you, hoping somebody will give you a chance. But nobody sees you because you're hiding. Nobody hears you because you're silent. Nobody knows what you want because you won't open your mouth. You've got to ask. Some of you are sitting on jobs you hate, waiting for a promotion, but you've never asked your boss what it would take to move up. You've been working for years, grinding every day, and still overlooked. And you're mad, you're bitter, you're frustrated. But have you asked? Have you gone in and said, what do I need to do to get to the next level? No, you're just hoping. And hope is not a strategy. Asking is, some of you want mentorship. You admire somebody, you watch their success, you look at their life, and you wish they could guide you. Well, you won't ask. You watch from the sidelines, scared of what they'll say, scared they'll reject you. And while you're scared, somebody else is asking. Somebody else is getting the mentorship, the guidance, the wisdom, and you're left behind. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't ask. Let me give you another perspective. Every time you don't ask, you've already chosen no. You're rejecting yourself. You're telling yourself, I don't deserve this. Then you're doing the other person's job for them. Don't you understand? The worst they can do is say no. But the best they can do? The best they can do is say yes and change your life forever. And you'll never know if you don't ask. I remember when I first started speaking, I didn't have connections, I didn't have money, I didn't have a name. I went to schools, to colleges, to organizations, and I asked. Most of the time I got no. Most of the time they brushed me off. But every once in a while, somebody said yes. And those yeses built the foundation of my career. If I had let the fear of rejection stop me, I'd still be unknown. But I asked. I asked until the world knew my name. You can't let fear rob you of your destiny. You can't let pride rob you of your blessing. You can't let silence rob you of your future. You've got to get bold enough to ask. And when you ask, don't ask small, ask big. Ask for the promotion. Ask for the opportunity. Ask for the raise. Ask for the partnership. Ask for the dream. You already don't have it. So what's the risk in asking? Rejection is not the enemy. Fear is. Rejection is not final. Silence is. Rejection will sting for a moment, but silence will starve you for a lifetime. Rejection will teach you, grow you, make you stronger. Silence will keep you weak, keep you stuck, keep you invisible. You've got to choose. Do you want the sting of rejection or the starvation of silence? Because either way there's pain, but only one leads to growth. So stop waiting. Stop playing it safe. Stop protecting yourself from something that can't even hurt you. A no doesn't hurt you. A no doesn't take anything from you. A no doesn't change your worth. A no just puts you right back where you already are. But a yes, a yes can change everything. A yes can take you from broke to wealthy. A yes can take you from unknown to world renowned. A yes can take you from overlooked to celebrated. But you'll never hear yes if you don't open your mouth. You already don't have it. So stop acting like you've got something to lose. Stop letting fear talk you out of your blessing. Stop letting pride keep you in chains. Ask boldly, ask confidently, ask relentlessly, because the risk isn't in asking, the risk is in staying silent. I don't care who you are, where you come from, or what you've been through at some point in life. You're going to hear the word no. You're going to hear it from people. You're going to hear it from institutions. You're going to hear it from life itself. But I need you to stop treating no like it's the end. Stop treating no like it's final. Stop treating no like it means you're not enough. Because every no is one step closer to a yes. Every no is a brick on the road that leads to your destiny. Every no is not a wall, it's a stepping stone. The problem with some of you is you hear no one time and you quit. You hear no one time and you shut down. You hear no one time and you tell yourself it wasn't meant to be. But you don't even realize no doesn't mean never. No just means not right now. No just means not here. No just means not with them. And if you can survive the no, if you can push through the no, if you can take the no and keep going, I promise you, eventually you're going to get to yes. When I was homeless, when I was broke, when I was walking around with holes in my shoes and no food to eat, I heard no over and over and over again. I asked people for help. No. I asked people for jobs. No. I asked people for opportunities. No. And every no hurt. Every no stung. Every no made me question myself. But I kept asking. I kept pushing. I kept knocking. And eventually somebody said yes. And that yes changed everything. That yes gave me the chance to get off the streets. That yes gave me the chance to get an education. That yes gave me the chance to build a career. And if I had quit on all those no's, I would have never made it to the yes that changed my life. You gotta stop letting no define you. No is not a reflection of your worth. No is not proof that you're not talented. No is not evidence that you're not capable. No is just part of the process. Every champion you've ever admired, every success story you've ever studied, every person you've ever looked up to, they all heard no. They all got rejected. They all got turned away. The difference between them and the ones who quit is that they understood that every no was one step closer to yes. Think about it like this. You knock on 10 doors looking for an opportunity. 9 of them slam in your face. 9 of them tell you no. 9 of them tell you you're not good enough. 9 of them don't want to hear it. But the 10th one opens. And that one yes makes all the no's worth it. That one yes is the door you needed to walk through. But you would have never reached that 10th door if you quit after the first, the second, or the third. Some of you are missing your blessing because you stopped too early. You gave up after 1 no, after 2 no's, after 3 no's, when your yes was just around the corner. You let rejection rob you of your reward. You let rejection steal your future. You let rejection talk you out of your destiny. But I'm here to tell you, rejection is not the enemy. Rejection is the proof that you're trying. Rejection is the proof that you're in the game. Rejection is the toll you pay on the road to yes. When I was building my speaking career, I got rejected more times than I can count. I'd walk into schools, walk into colleges, walk into organizations, and I'd ask to speak. Most of the time, they told me no. They told me they didn't have the budget. They told me they didn't need me. They told me they didn't need me. They told me they already had somebody else. And it would have been easy to say, this isn't for me. This isn't working. Maybe I should quit. But I kept going. I kept knocking. I kept asking. And eventually somebody said yes. And that yes got recorded. And that video went viral. And that yes opened doors all over the world. And none of that would have happened if I let the no stop me. You got to rewire your brain. Stop seeing no as a dead end and start seeing it as a detour. Stop seeing no as a wall and start seeing it as a door waiting to open. Stop seeing no as rejection and start seeing it as redaction and start seeing it as redirection. Every no is not pushing you away from your destiny. It's guiding you to the right yes. Because the truth is, not every yes is for you. Some yeses would destroy you if you got them too soon. Some yeses would crush you if you weren't ready. Some yeses will waste your gift if you didn't have the character to handle them. Sometimes the no's are protection. Sometimes the no's are preparation. Sometimes the no's are God's way of making sure that when you finally get the yes, you're ready for it. Think about Thomas Edison. Thousands of times he tried to invent the light bulb and failed. Thousands of no's from life itself. Thousands of experiments that didn't work. But he didn't quit. He understood that every no, every failure, every rejection was one step closer to the yes that would light up the world. That's how you gotta think. That's how you gotta live. Every no is not the end, it's the next step. And I need you to stop being so fragile. Stop letting one no break your spirit. Stop letting one rejection make you doubt yourself. Stop letting one failure convince you that you're not enough. They are not enough. Talk about it. You are enough. You're gifted. You're talented. You're capable. But you're going to have to earn your yes by surviving the no's. You're going to have to prove you want it bad enough by pushing through the rejections. You're gonna have to show life you won't quit just because it didn't work the first time. The yes is coming. The yes is waiting. The yes is already out there with your name on it. But the only way you're going to reach it is if you're willing to walk through the nods to get there. The yes is not at the beginning. The yes is at the end of the process. The yes is at the end of persistence. The yes is at the end of resilience. The yes is at the end of faith. Every no is one step closer to a yes, but only if you keep moving. So I need you to get comfortable with rejection. I need you to embrace it. I need you to stop running from it and start learning from it. Every no is teaching you something. Every no is making you stronger. Every no is sharpening your skills. Every no is building your care. Every no is preparing you for the yes that's coming. You're not losing when you hear no. You're learning. You're not failing when you hear no, failing when you hear growing. You're not stuck when you hear no, you're moving. Because every no is progress. Every no is full motion. Every no is one step closer to yes. Pride will keep you broke. Asking will help you grow. I need you to sit with that because for some of you, pride is the number one thing stopping you from living the life you're supposed to live. It's not your talent. It's not your talent. It's not your hustle. It's not your drive. It's your pride. You're too scared to look weak. Too scared to let people know you don't have all the answers. Too scared to open your mouth and say, and because of that pride, you're stuck right where you are. Stuck right where you are. Listen to me. Pride is expensive. Pride will cost you opportunities. Pride will cost you relationships. Pride will cost you money. Pride will cost you growth. Pride will have you broke in your pockets, broke in your spirit, and broke in your potential. I'm broke in your potential. I know because I've seen it. I've seen people with so much talent, so much potential, but they let pride rob them of everything. They'd rather struggle in silence than ask for help. They'd rather pretend they're okay than admit they need support. And I need you to hear me. Pretending doesn't get you anywhere. Acting like you got it all together doesn't move you forward. Being prideful doesn't make you stronger. It makes you stuck. You can't grow if you're too proud to ask. You can't level up if you're too proud to say, I don't know, can you teach me? You can't step into your full potential if you're too proud to admit you don't have it all figured out. Let me give you something real. When I was homeless, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, when I was eating out of trash cans, do you think I got out of that by being prideful? No. I had to swallow my pride and ask. I had to ask people for help. I had to ask people to give me a shot. I had to ask people to teach me what I didn't know. And it wasn't easy. I wanted to do it on my own. I wanted to prove I didn't need anybody. But the truth, I didn't need anybody. But the truth is, nobody makes it alone. Everybody you see who's successful, I don't care how big they are. I don't care how much money they make. I don't care how much influence they have. Every single one of them had to ask at some point. They had to ask for mentorship, ask for opportunity, ask for guidance, ask for wisdom. The difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck is this. The ones who grow are not afraid to ask. They're not afraid to admit they don't know everything. They're not afraid to say, I need some help. The ones who stay stuck, they let pride get in the way. They rather look like they've got it together than actually get it together. And that's the dangerous thing about pride. It looks good on the outside, but it destroys you on the inside. Pride says, I'll figure it out myself. Growth says, show me how to do it better. Pride says, I don't need anyone. Growth says, I can't do this without help. Pride says, if I ask, I'll look weak. Growth says, if I ask, I'll get stronger. I want you to think about this. How many blessings have you missed out on because you didn't ask? How many doors could have been open for you if you just had the courage to say something? How many connections could have been made? How many opportunities could have come your way if you just asked? Some of you are praying for a breakthrough. You're praying for change. You're praying for success. But God is like, I already gave you the blessing. You just won't ask for it. You think doors are closed when really you just haven't knocked. You think people don't care when really you just haven't spoken up. Stop letting pride keep you broke. Stop letting pride rob you of your destiny. There are people out there who want to help you. There are people out there who would say yes if you just asked. There are people out there who have the wisdom, the knowledge, the resources, the connections you need, but your pride is keeping you from them. And let me tell you, it's not about looking good, it's about getting better. It's not about protecting your image. It's about reaching your potential. You can't cash pride at the bank. Pride won't pay your bills. Pride won't build your dreams. Pride won't put food on the table. Pride won't grow your business. But asking will. Asking opens doors. Asking creates opportunities. Asking connects you with the right people. Asking takes you to the next level. I've been in rooms I never thought I'd be in. Not because I was the smartest, not because I was the most talented, but because I am. I've gotten opportunities I didn't even qualify for, not because I had the most experience, but because I asked. And the crazy thing is, sometimes the only difference between me and the next guy wasn't talent. It was that I was bold enough to. That's what I need you to get today. It's not always about how good you are. It's about how bold you are. And boldness comes when you kill your pride. You can't be too proud to ask questions. You can't be too proud to say you don't know. You can't be too proud to say you don't know. You can't be too proud to ask for help. You've got to let that go. Because if you don't, you're going to stay stuck. And I don't want that for you. I want you to grow. I want you to reach your full potential. I want you to walk into the life you were meant to live. Oh, but you can't get there if you let pride run your life. So here's what I need you to do. The next time you feel that pride rise up, the next time you feel yourself holding back from asking, I need you to remind yourself that pride doesn't pay. Remind yourself that pride is keeping you broke. Pride is keeping you small. Pride is keeping you from your blessing. Then open your mouth. Ask, even if your voice shakes, even if you feel uncomfortable, even if you're scared of the answer, ask anyway. Because the truth is, the worst that can happen is someone says no. But the best that can happen, that yes can change your whole life. And when you start asking, when you start letting go of pride, you'll see growth like never before. You'll see doors open you didn't even know existed. You'll see opportunities you never imagined. You'll see yourself stepping into levels you thought were out of reach. Not because you suddenly got more talented, not because you suddenly got luckier, but because you stopped letting pride hold you back and you started asking. So don't let pride keep you broke. Don't let pride stop your growth. Choose growth. Choose asking. Choose humility. Because the ones who grow, the ones who succeed, the ones who rise, they're the ones who are not too proud to ask. Asking is not weakness, it's wisdom. Somewhere along the line, people got it twisted. Somewhere along the line, somebody told you that if you ask for help, you're weak. If you ask for guidance, you're not strong enough. If you ask for support, it means you don't have what it takes. And because of that lie, so many people are stuck. So many people are carrying weights they don't need to carry. So many people are drowning when all they had to do was raise their hand and ask. Now, I need you to hear me. Asking is not weakness, it's strength, it's maturity, it's wisdom. Think about it. The strongest people in the world, the ones who keep moving forward, they don't do it alone. They surround themselves with people who can help them. People that can ask for advice, for knowledge, for direction. Weakness is pretending you got it all together when you don't. Weakness is sinking and saying nothing. Weakness is letting your pride and your fear keep silent while opportunities pass you by. Wisdom is saying, I don't know, teach me. Wisdom is saying, I can't do this by myself. Can you help me? Wisdom is saying, if I want to go far, I can't go alone. Look at the greatest athletes in the world. Do you think they get to the top by themselves? No, they ask for help every single day. They ask their coaches, their trainers, their teammates. They ask for corrections. They ask for strategies. They ask for someone to push them harder. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. They know that asking doesn't take away from their greatness. It multiplies it. You're not less because you asked. You're more because you're learning, you're growing, you're building. Let me be transparent. I didn't get where I am today because I knew it all. I didn't get here because I was perfect. I got here because I asked people to teach me how to speak. I asked people to show me how to run a business. I asked mentors how to make the right moves. And every time I asked, I grew. Every time I opened my mouth, I gained wisdom I didn't have before. If I had tried to do it all on my own, I'd still be stuck. And that's where some of you are. You're stuck because you won't ask. You think asking is weakness, but really refusing to ask is what's keeping you weak. I know some of you are scared of hearing no. But let me break it down. Hearing no doesn't make you weak, it makes you wiser. Because when somebody says no, you learn. You learn who can help you and who can't. You learn what works and what doesn't. You learn how to adjust, how to refine, how to move differently. And no is not rejection, it's redirection, it's wisdom. And you don't get that wisdom unless you're bold enough to ask. Asking is also about stewardship. Some of you have dreams, big dreams, but you don't know how to manage them yet. You got vision, but no roadmap. And you're sitting there trying to figure it all out yourself. That's not strength, that's struggle. Strength is going to someone who's been where you're trying to go and saying, teach me how to do this right. That's wisdom. You're not supposed to reinvent the wheel. You're supposed to learn from the people who've already been there, and then you add your own touch to it. But you can't do that if you don't ask. Think about children. When a child asks questions, do you think they're weak? No. We call that curiosity. We call that learning. We call that growth. We call that growth. So why, as adults, do we stop asking? Somewhere along the way, we let ego and pride convince us that asking questions makes us look dumb. But the truth is, not asking is what keeps you dumb. You don't know what you don't know until you ask. And once you ask, you unlock knowledge that takes you to the next level. That's wisdom. Asking is also about community. You were never meant to do life alone. You were never meant to climb mountains by yourself. The whole reason people exist in networks, in families, in communities, is so we can support each other, so we can ask and give in return. But if you don't ask, you're cutting yourself off from the very community that can help you thrive. You're isolating yourself, and isolation is where dreams go die. Community is where dreams grow. But you only tap into that community if you're willing to open your mouth and ask. Some of you are carrying shame, thinking, if I ask, people will think less of me. Let me flip that. When you ask, people don't think less of you. They respect you more. They respect that you care enough to learn, that you're humble enough to grow, that you're wise enough to admit you don't know it all. People can spot pride a mile away, and pride pushes people away. But humility, humility draws people in. Humility opens doors. Humility makes people want to help you. Asking is a form of humility. It's saying, I'm strong enough to admit I don't know everything. That's wisdom, not weakness. You've got to stop confusing independence with isolation. Independence is good. You should be able to stand on your own. But isolation, cutting yourself off because you're too afraid to ask, that's destructive. The strongest trees don't grow in isolation. Their roots are connected. They draw strength from each other. That's how they survive storms. You gotta connect. You've got to be willing to ask so your roots can link with others and make you stronger. There's a reason the most successful people in the world have advisors, mentors, coaches. They know asking doesn't make them less, it makes them more. They know that wisdom comes from seeking knowledge, and seeking knowledge comes from asking. Some of you want to be at the top, but you don't want to ask for direction. Imagine getting in your car, wanting to drive to a place you've never been, but refusing to use a map, refusing to ask anybody how to get there. You're going to get lost. That's what many of you are doing with your dreams. You're lost because you won't ask. You're wandering in circles because you think asking is weakness. No, asking is the map. Asking is the wisdom that gets you where you're trying to go. And let me tell you this, asking isn't just about what you can get. It's about what you can give. When you ask, you're giving someone else the opportunity to use their gifts, to share their wisdom, to bless you with what they know. People want to pour into others. People want to share, but they can if you won't ask. So by asking, you're not just helping yourself, you're creating a cycle where wisdom flows, where knowledge is exchanged, where growth happens on both sides. So stop letting fear and pride trick you. Stop thinking asking makes you small. Stop thinking asking means you're not enough. Asking doesn't make you small. It makes you smart. Asking doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Asking is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll stop holding yourself back and start stepping into everything you're capable of. The difference between winners and losers, winners ask. It's that simple. That's the line that separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. It's not always about who's the most talented, who's the smartest, who's the most gifted. A lot of losers are talented. A lot of losers are talented. A lot of losers are brilliant. A lot of losers have skills that could change the world. But they stay stuck because they never open their mouth. They never step up. They never ask. And then you got winners. People who maybe weren't the most talented, maybe weren't the most gifted, maybe didn't even start with the most resources, but they asked for help. They asked for opportunities. They asked for mentorship. They asked for the door to be open. And because they asked, they got access. I've seen it over and over again. I've seen people with less talent outpace people with more talent, all because they had the courage to add, You've got people who sit on the sidelines of life, waiting for somebody to notice them, waiting for somebody to just hand them a shot. But life doesn't work like that. Nobody is going to hand you your dream. Nobody is going to come knocking on your door saying, hey, I've been waiting for you. Here's your opportunity. Winners don't wait. Winners ask. They knock on doors until somebody answers. They raise their hand when others stay silent. They send that email. They make that phone call. They step up when others shrink back. That's the difference. Losers are paralyzed by fear. They say, what if they say no? What if I get rejected? What if they laugh at me? Winners feel that same fear, but they don't let it stop them. They ask anyway, because they understand that rejection is not the end. It's just part of the process. Winners understand that every no gets them closer to a yes. So losers take one and no and quit. Winners take one and no and keep asking until they get the answer they're looking for. Let me make it plain. Let me make it plain. Closed mouths don't get fed. You could be starving. You could be in desperate need. But if you don't ask, nobody's going to feed you. Losers starve in silence because their pride or their fear keeps them quiet. Winners speak up, winners ask, and because of that, they eat. That's why winners keep rising and losers keep watching from the sideline. I remember when I was trying to get into certain rooms, when I wanted to be around certain people who had the wisdom and resources I needed. Do you think they just came looking for me? No, I had to ask. I had to put myself out there. I had to risk hearing a no. But because I asked, I got access. And once I got access, I got wisdom, I got direction, I got opportunity. If I had sat back waiting for somebody to notice me, I'd still be stuck. Some of you are stuck not because you're not good enough, not because you don't have what it takes, but because you won't ask. Here's the truth. Winners aren't afraid of looking foolish. They rather look foolish for asking than stay broke and stuck because they kept quiet. Losers worry too much about image, about pride, about how they're going to look. Winners don't care. They're focused on growth. They're focused on the goal. They know that asking doesn't make them look weak. It makes them wise. They understand that the embarrassment of asking is temporary, but the reward of asking could change their whole life. You've got to get this. Losers are reactive. They wait for things to happen to them. Winners are proactive. They make things happen by asking for what they need. That's the game. If you're sitting back, waiting for somebody to give you permission, waiting for somebody to call your name, waiting for somebody to discover you, you're losing. Winners don't wait to be discovered, they ask for opportunities. Winners don't wait for doors to open by themselves. They knock until their knuckles bleed. Think about the people you admire, the ones who are at the top of their fields. If you listen to their story, most of them got to where they are because they asked. They asked for internships, they asked for jobs, they asked for investors, they asked for someone to believe in them. They didn't sit back and hope. They asked. And when one person said no, they went to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next until somebody said yes. That's the difference between winners and losers. Losers live in the world of a what if. What if I get rejected? What if it doesn't work? What if they laugh? And because of those what ifs, they never even try. Winners flip it. Winners say, what if they say, yeah? What if this opens the door? What if this is the opportunity I've been waiting for? And that one question gives them the courage to ask. I need you to see how dangerous it is to stay silent. Every time you don't ask, you're telling yourself you're not worthy. Every time you don't ask, you're reinforcing fear. Every time you don't ask, you're letting opportunities slip through your fingers. Losers think silence keeps them safe, but silence keeps them stuck. Winners understand that silence is costly, so they speak up. They ask, and because of that, they grow. Let me be real with you. Losers are more concerned with rejection than direction. They're more worried about somebody saying no than about actually getting to where they want to go. Winners are the opposite. Winners know that even if someone says no, they can still learn, they can still grow, they can still redirect. That's wisdom. That's growth. That's how you win. So ask yourself today, are you acting like a winner or a loser? Are you keeping quiet because you're scared of rejection, or are you bold enough to ask? Because the difference between the two is not talent, not resources, not intelligence. It's the courage to ask. Winners ask, losers don't, and the choice is yours. Stop assuming people know what you need. Speak up. Too many of you are suffering in silence, struggling in the dark, hoping somebody will come along and read your mind. Life doesn't work like that. People can't help you if they don't know what you need. Opportunities don't just fall into your lap because someone magically gets what you were waiting for. Closed mouths don't get fed, and closed heart don't get. You've got to open your mouth. You've got to speak up. You've got to let the world know what it is you're after. I need you to think about how many times you sat in a room, hoping someone would notice your potential, hoping someone would recognize your struggle, hoping someone would just step in and give you exactly what you were waiting for, but they did not because they didn't care, not because they were against you, but because you never spoke up. You assumed they could see your pain, your hunger, your dreams, but they couldn't. People aren't mind readers. They're too busy fighting their own battles, chasing their own dreams, handling their own problems. If you want help, if you want support, if you want opportunity, you can't sit there hoping someone figures it out. You gotta speak. Losers keep waiting for someone else to make the first move. Winners make the first move themselves. Losers sit quietly, frustrated that nobody sees them. Winners raise their hand and say, I'm here, I want this, I'm ready. And the crazy thing is, once you start speaking up, once you start letting people know what you need, you'll realize there are people who are more than willing to help. There are people who've been looking for someone like you. There are people who have the resources, the wisdom, the connections, but they can't help you if you don't open your mouth. I remember being in situations where I wanted something so badly, but I kept it to myself, thinking people would just notice my hustle, notice my passion, notice my pain. And when they did, I got bitter. I thought, oh, why doesn't anyone care? Why doesn't anyone see me? But then I realized it wasn't on them, it was on me. I hadn't spoken up. I hadn't asked. I was assuming people could see what was in my heart. But the truth is, if you don't say it, most people will never know. Stop assuming your boss knows you want that promotion. Speak up. Stop assuming your teacher knows you're struggling. Speak up. Stop assuming your family knows you need their support. Speak up. Stop assuming your friends know you're in pain. Speak up. Stop assuming the world owes you anything just because you're grinding in silence. Speak up. You've got to let people know what you want, what you need, what you're aiming for. Some of you are so worried about being judged, so worried about looking needy, so worried about being vulnerable that you keep everything bottled up. But let me tell you something. Silence is killing your dreams. Silence is stealing your opportunity. Silence is keeping you stuck. Speaking up doesn't make you needy, it makes you real. Speaking up doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. Speaking up doesn't push people away, it invites the right people in. Think about it like this. If you're drowning and you don't shout for help, how are people supposed to know you're in trouble? They might walk right past you thinking you're fine because you never said a word. That's what too many of you are doing. You're drowning quietly, hoping somebody will notice. Winners don't do that. Winners shout, winners wave their hands, winners let the world know, I need help here. And because they speak up, they get rescued, they get supported, they get lifted to the next level. The truth is, people respect honesty. People respect someone who can say, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. Nobody has time to play guessing game. If you're not clear, if you're not vocal, people can't align with you. And if they can't align with you, you'll stay stuck wondering why nobody is helping. Speak up. Say what you need. Say where you're headed. Say what you're chasing. And let me make this clear. Speaking up doesn't guarantee you'll always get what you ask for. Some people will still say no. Some people won't be able to help, but at least they'll know. At least you gave yourself a chance. Because one yes is all it takes to change your life. But you'll never get to that yes if you're too afraid to ask. Stop letting fear silence you. Stop letting pride silence you. Stop letting insecurity silence you. If you want to win, if you want to grow, if you want to reach your next level, you got to be bold enough to speak up. Winners don't wait for permission. They declare what they need. Winners don't hide their hunger. They express it. Winners don't sit in the shadows. They step into the light and say, I'm ready. The next time you're in a room where there's opportunity, open your mouth. The next time you're struggling, don't sit in silence. Ask for help. The next time you have a dream, don't keep it bottled up. Share it with people who can push you toward it. You never know who's listening. You never know who's in the room. You never know who's waiting for someone bold enough to speak. Don't rob yourself of blessings because you were too afraid to speak. Don't rob yourself of growth because you assume people would just know. Don't rob yourself of your destiny because you stayed silent. Your voice is your power. Your words are your key. And sometimes the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is the courage to open your mouth and speak up. You keep walking around thinking people can read your mind, thinking the world just knows what you need, what you want, what you're dreaming about. But let me be real with you. Nobody knows until you open your mouth and say it. Stop assuming people know what you need. Speak up. You can't afford to sit in silence, waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap. Opportunities don't come looking for you. You go after them, you claim them, you demand them by speaking up. That dream job you want, they don't know you want it unless you apply, unless you speak to the right people, unless you make it clear that you're ready. That relationship you want to fix, they can't know what's in your heart if you don't open up your mouth. That help you're waiting for, that guidance you're praying for, it won't come until you ask, until you speak, until you let the world know what's on your spirit. I need you to understand something. Assumptions are killing your progress. You assume people see your hard work. You assume people know you're struggling. You assume that if you stay quiet, eventually someone will notice and step in. No, that's not how it works. The world is busy. People are busy. Everybody has their own struggles, their own responsibilities, their own storms to fight. Nobody is waking up in the morning thinking about your goals the way you do. Nobody is lying in bed at night stressing about your dreams the way you do. That's your responsibility. So if you don't speak up, if you don't make it known, don't be surprised when nothing changes. You gotta stop letting fear and pride keep you silent. Some of you are scared that if you ask, people will think you're weak. You think asking for help makes you look less capable. But let me tell you something. Asking is not weakness, it's wisdom. You're not supposed to do everything alone. You're not supposed to carry every burden by yourself. There's strength in community. There's power in connection. And there's growth in seeking guidance. The only way you learn, the only way you grow, the only way you break through to the next level is by asking questions, asking for feedback, asking for support. When you stay silent, you cheat yourself. You cheat yourself out of blessing, out of breakthroughs, out of opportunities. So you walk around with all this potential, all this fire, all this talent inside of you, but you don't move because you're scared somebody might tell you a no. You're afraid somebody might not see your value. You're afraid they might laugh, they might judge, they might push you away. So you play it safe, you stay quiet, you stay in the shadows, and you think you're protecting yourself, but let me tell you the truth. You're not protecting yourself, you're trapping yourself. You're putting yourself in a cage, and the key is right there in your pocket. The cage isn't rejection, the cage is fear of rejection. Rejection is not the end, it's feedback. Rejection is redirection. Rejection is a lesson. Every time somebody tells you a no, they're not saying you're worthless. They're not saying you don't have value. They're simply saying, you're not here, not now, not this way. And if you're smart, if you're hungry, if you're committed, you take that I know and you let it fuel you. You take that I know and you let it sharpen you. You take that I know and you use it to guide you to the place where that yes is waiting. The fear of rejection keeps you from even trying. And that's the tragedy, because the rejection itself isn't even the worst thing. The worst thing is not trying. The worst thing is standing at the edge of opportunity and never jumping. The worst thing is sitting in silence, living with the what if. What if I had spoken up? What if I had applied? What if I had asked for help? What if I had taken that shot? Those two words will haunt you more than any rejection ever could. You got to make a decision today to stop letting fear of rejection hold you hostage. You can't keep letting the opinions of other people dictate your destiny. You can't keep giving so much power to the possibility of a or no that you never give yourself the chance at a yes. Listen to me. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has faced rejection. Every inventor, every entrepreneur, every leader, every athlete, every artist. They've all been told to know more times than they can count. But they didn't stop. They didn't let that fear freeze them. They kept going until the door opened. Think about this. When a baby is learning to walk, they fall down over and over again. They get rejected by gravity, rejected by balance, rejected by their own shaky legs. But do they quit? Do they decide that walking isn't for me? No. They get up and try again because the desire to walk is greater than the fear of falling. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we lose that resilience. We start to care more about what people think, more about how failure looks, more about the sting of rejection. But you got to get that childlike spirit back. You got to want it bad enough that a no doesn't break you, it builds you. Fear of rejection is keeping you from opportunity that are literally one conversation away. The promotion you want, you're not asking for it. The mentorship you need, you're not seeking it. The dream project you've been holding on to, you're not pitching it. Why? Because you're scared of what somebody might say. But let me ask you this, what if they say yes? What if the door opens? What if that opportunity is sitting right there, waiting for you to step up with courage? You'll never know if you feel that fear silence you. And here's the truth. Rejection isn't even about you most of the time. Sometimes people say no because they're not ready, because they don't see the vision, because they've got their own limitation. That a no doesn't define your value. It doesn't define your worth. It doesn't define your destiny. It's just part of the process. So stop taking it personal. Stop letting one no feel like the whole world turned against you. A no is just a step on the road to yes. I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but rejection hurts. Of course it hurts. Of course it hurts. Nobody likes to hear no. Nobody likes to feel unwanted, unsupported, unappreciated. But pain is a part of growth. Every athlete feels the pain of training. Every entrepreneur feels the pain of failure. Every champion feels the sting of loss. But you can't let pain stop you. You gotta let pain push you. That rejection pain, use it. Let it motivate you. Let it drive you to refine your skills, to work harder, to come back stronger. Don't run from it, embrace it. Fear of rejection is also tied to pride. You don't want to look foolish. You don't want to feel vulnerable. You don't want people to see you fail. But listen, failure is a part of success. Vulnerability is a part of growth. Looking foolish is a part of learning. Every no you collect is proof that you're trying, proof that you're putting yourself out there, proof that you're not letting fear win. And the people who laugh at you, the people who mock you, they're not chasing their dreams. They're not stepping into the arena. They're sitting on the sidelines watching you fight for your future. Don't ever let spectators stop you from playing the game. You gotta reframe how you see rejection. Instead of seeing it as a wall, see it as a signpost. Instead of letting it discourage you, let it direct you. A rejection is not an ending, it's information. It's feedback telling you to adjust, to pivot, to try again in a different way. When you stop fearing rejection and start embracing it, you unlock a whole new level of power. Because then nothing can stop you. No matter how many times you hear a no, you keep moving, you keep moving, you keep speaking, you keep knocking on doors until the right one opens. And here's something you've got to get into your spirit. Rejection doesn't diminish your worth. Just because somebody didn't choose you doesn't mean you're not valuable. Just because somebody didn't say yes doesn't mean you're not qualified. Your value is not determined by how many people say yes to you. It's determined by what you're willing to fight for, what you're willing to endure, what you're willing to keep chasing no matter how many times you fall. So stop letting the fear of rejection paralyze you. Stop letting it silence your voice. Stop letting it chain you to the same spot year after year. You've got to take risks. You've got to step into the unknown. You've got to be willing to look rejection in the face and keep moving forward anyway. Because the truth is, rejection isn't your enemy. Fear is. And once you conquer that fear, once you stop giving it power, you become unstoppable. The life you want, the dream you've been praying for, The opportunity you've been waiting on, it's on the other side of rejection. You got to be willing to push through the no's to get to the yes. You got to be willing to speak even when your voice shakes, to ask even when your heart races, to try even when failure is possible, because the only real failure is not trying at all. So today, make a choice. Stop running from rejection. Stop letting fear dictate your destiny. Start speaking up. Start asking. Start moving with boldness. And every time that fear whispers, what if they say no? You answer back, what if they say yeah? When your next level is not 10 years away, it's not waiting for some magical moment. It's not hiding behind luck or coincidence. Your next level is one ask away. You've been praying, you've been playing, you've been praying, you've been preparing, but you haven't opened your mouth. You haven't had the courage to ask the question, to knock on the door, to step up and declare what you want. And because you haven't asked, you're stuck at the same level. You've been circling the same mountain, living in the same season, because you keep waiting for somebody to read your mind. But the truth is, the blessing, the breakthrough, the opportunity, it's all waiting on you to ask. One ask can change your entire life. One email, one phone call, one conversation, one moment of courage where you step out of fear and into boldness. That's all it takes. Think about it. How many people do you know who got their big break? Not because they were the smartest, not because they were the most talented, but because they asked for something that most people were too scared to ask for. They asked for the promotion. They asked for the promotion. They asked for the chance to perform. They asked for mentorship. They asked for a seat at the table. And because they asked, they were elevated. But you're sitting there waiting. You're hoping, you're dreaming, but you're not asking. You're letting fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment hold you back from the very thing that could take you to the next level. And I need you to understand it. Closed mouths don't get fed. Silent hearts don't get healed. Unspoken dreams don't get answered. You can't keep expecting doors to open when you won't even knock. Your next level is not hidden. It's not impossible. It's not locked away from you. It's accessible, it's available, but it's only unlocked by asking. You gotta be willing to risk hearing the no to get to your yes. Every yes that changed my life was on the other side of a risk, on the other side of me opening my mouth and asking. When I was homeless, I had to ask for help. When I was broken, I had to ask for guidance. When I wanted to learn, I had to ask questions. When I wanted to grow, I had to ask for mentorship. If I didn't ask, I wouldn't be standing here speaking to you right now. Some of you think asking makes you weak. You think it makes you needy. You think it makes you need. You think it means you're less capable. But let me tell you something. Asking is not weakness. Asking is wisdom. Asking is courage. Asking is strength. It takes humility to admit you need help. It takes boldness to admit you want more. It takes vision to say out loud, this is where I want to go, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there. The reason you're stuck at the same level is because you keep trying to do everything alone. You don't want to bother people. You don't want to be rejected. You don't want to look foolish, but greatness is not achieved in isolation. Success is not built in silence. Every great person in history got to their next level because they weren't afraid to ask. They asked for wisdom, they asked for partnership, they asked for opportunity, they asked for guidance. And when the door opened, they walked through it. You've got to shift your mindset. Stop seeing asking as begging. Stop seeing asking as weakness. Stop seeing asking as desperation. Asking is alignment. Asking is faith. Asking is action. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. You can't pray for elevation and then stay silent when the opportunity shows up. You can't hope for growth and then refuse to ask the questions that lead to knowledge. You can't dream about success and then stay quiet about what you need to reach it. Your next level is not about waiting for somebody to hand you something. It's about you taking ownership, you taking initiative, you making a decision to step up and ask for it. That one ask could connect you with the mentor who changes your life. That one ask could get you in the room where opportunities are born. That one ask could land you the job, the scholarship, the deal that shifts your entire future. But if you don't ask, if you stay silent, you'll keep living beneath your potential. And here's the truth. Not asking is costing you more than rejection ever could. Because rejection is temporary, but silence is permanent. A no lasts a moment, but regret lasts a lifetime. I would rather you hear 1,000 of no's than to live your life wondering, oh, what if I had asked? Yeah, question will haunt you. That question will keep you up at night. That question will follow you to the grave. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let silence steal your destiny. I need you to remember this. Every great door in your life is opened by your voice. Speak up, ask, demand your next level. The world is not going to give it to you because you wish for it. The world rewards those who step up courage and clarity. So open your mouth, knock on the door, send the email, make the call, have the conversation, because your next level is not far away. It's one ask away. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop letting fear control you. Step into boldness. Step into courage. Step into the life that's waiting for you on the other side of one simple question, one ask. That's it. That's the difference between where you are and where you want to be.